means
We're
that
live.
means we're doing this. Man, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. The video is definitely not as clear of you as the other one was.
But yeah, same, but there's less of a lag. Man, I got to get some easier to install headphones.
Damn, now your video got really bad. I don't understand that, dude.
Oh, it's because I live in the middle of nowhere. I don't have whatever the heck you have.
Yeah,
What do you call it? Gig speed?
It was just decent a second ago.
I'm sure it's your fault.
It is, probably. I don't understand.
So, okay, so basically the one we tried first, and I don't want to say the name because I don't want to be a dick about it, but it was a free version of what we're doing now, and I was like, okay, actually, I originally canceled my Riverside subscription because I wasn't using it much, and I wanted to use that money for my Chat GPT subscription because I would die without that now.
Would you? How come?
Because it's amazing, but
So what is the paid version getting you?
well, of Riverside.
No, of chat.
Oh, well, it allows me to. Okay, basically, what I do is I talk like a middle school girl, with it on my way back and forth to work, and just talk about everything. It's beautiful.
Would it not do that with the free version?
Oh no, it times out almost immediately.
What?
Oh yeah. You can do it, but you reach your limit really fast.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Not with the paid version. He has to listen to me blather on.
That's right. Oh, you got it set as a he?
Oh, I didn't know there was an option.
Oh yeah, dude. There's voice options, of course, just like Siri. You can change them.
So wait a minute. What's yours?
I mean, it's a female. I don't know what voice it is. I have to go in and look at it. But
yeah, one of them foreign accents?
No, actually, it doesn't have an accent.
Mine is a dude, but he sounds either British or Australian or something.
Yeah, you should go in and change it. I don't know, man. There's something more, I don't know, comforting about it to me, being a female's voice.
Well, okay, my Siri is a female with some kind of funny accent, but I didn't even think about having changing. I didn't know you could change it, but now I've gotten attached. I don't know if I could.
Yeah, I guess if you're used to it.
That's a little too amorphous for me.
Try it though; you might like it. Just see.
But no, so I wanted to switch to see if I could use that free version, but I mean, granted, I haven't used it yet, but we couldn't get it to work at all, and so
I thought, how do you know it wasn't working?
Well, because you were getting an upload error. Yeah,
but when I refreshed it, like it said, it was fine.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, we may I may have to revisit that. I mean, believe me, I would love to be able to use something free for this. But then on the same token, I'm going to look like a complete retard if I'm trying to like reach out to someone and do some like professional sounding interview and we spend the first half an hour troubleshooting.
Yeah, that's true. That's not going to look good.
Not a good look. Not a good look. No, dude. Okay, so first of all, because you told me about chat that you don't even use Google anymore, and I was recording an episode with April. Oh, I guess last week, and I was having some kind of an issue. I bought 2 new microphones, and hang on, I'm getting an echo. Can you hear that?
I don't hear an echo.
Oh, weird. It's probably not going to be in the recording.
The echo cancellation button up there.
Yeah, you can't. You can't do it while you're recording. That's fine. I just hear it every once in a while, as long as you're not hearing it. No. But basically, I was trying to record my new microphones with XLR cables into the Zoom, and then I was recording the video with my Sony going into the Ninja recorder, so it would go past 30 minutes. And I
Mhm.
could not figure out the Zoom wasn't working like with the microphones. And then I was going to Google it. No, I did Google it. It brought up some articles and some YouTube videos,
And some
and
advertisements.
yeah, yeah, about 50 different ads for everything that I don't need. And I, just out of habit, I was gonna jump in there and start digging through the articles and maybe watch a YouTube video. And I'm like, I don't have time for this. And so I jump
Mhm.
on chat because what you said stuck in my mind. I jumped on chat and literally it was like I was on tech support
Yeah.
with someone from Zoom. It was insane.
Yeah, so much better.
Insane, because I was like, here's literally I could give it play by play, like here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm
Mhm.
getting. And it was like, oh yeah, well, it's because you got to create a new project. And then normally on the Zoom you hit record to arm it, and then you hit record again to actually start recording. But for the particular mode that I was in, you got to hit record to arm it, and then you got to hit the play button to actually start the recording.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude,
Weird.
it works really good.
No, dude, it's incredible. Mi
And
mind-boggling.
and the fact that it's actually smart in that it I mean, I always kinda think about it in comparison to Siri. Like, if you ask Siri and she's giving you some steps on something and she goes through, 3 different steps, like, you can't tell her to hold on a second or say, like with chat, you can say, "Wait, wait, hang on a second," and you can say, "Go back and tell me that first one again," or she understands what you're asking her, and then she'll go back and, "Oh, yeah, no problem," and says it again. It's like you said, man, it's like you're on with a real person on support.
No, no, it's like we're in the future. Like, our grandkids are gonna grow up doing this and not think twice about it, but we grew up pre-internet. I refuse to let it not blow my mind every time I
Mhm.
do it. Be
Mhm.
because it's just I still can't believe it. I'm like, this can't be real. I'm talking to a robot. They understand me. It might as well be a human. Really the only like issues that I have are with internet connection, like depending on where I'm at. But otherwise, it's a very fluid conversation.
Yeah. Well, just imagine, man. Just imagine when robotics catch up and they've got real looking, humanoid robots that are artificial intelligence like that. I mean, I'm not saying to the point where, like, it could fool you into thinking it was a real person, but I mean, like, imagine that, you know, having one of those in your house and it's following you around and you could talk to it like that. It's just always there. Or it could always be
Yeah.
sitting in the passenger seat of your car. So it's like how I think that would start to create really bizarre relationships. And I think that would probably be bad for humanity in a way too.
Yeah,
We would
all
we
I'm
would
hearing is sex bots.
well, that too,
For
but I'm just thinking like people would probably I mean, think about it, man, like, an AI robot would technically have the same interests that you do, whereas you go and have you go and talk to 10 different people, maybe one person shares a common interest with you can actually have a fun conversation with, whereas something like that would at least to appear to enjoy and engage you in any conversation that you want. You know what I mean? And so I think that people would probably stop interacting with each other. They would just have their own personal fucking AI robot, and that would be that.
I wonder if that's something that like the people that are making it, would they see it as a service to humanity to not let you personalize it that much? Because I've never thought about that, but you're right. It would essentially be an echo chamber.
Yeah,
It
no,
would just
I don't think so because it's all about corporations and making money. Well, I mean, if somebody said no, we're not going to do that, then somebody else would say, sure, we'll do that, and they're going to sell their product. There's
ah.
nothing to stop it, dude. At this point, there's nothing. It's
No,
been
I think you're
unleashed.
right. I've never that part of it I've never even considered, but you're absolutely right because it'll just agree with you. It'll just you know, it'll just tell you all your ideas are great.
Right.
It'll give you a participation trophy at the end of every day.
Right. But I mean, think about it, as smart as it is now, like, you'll be able to say to it, like, you'll be able to reason with it and tell it, like, "Look, if I'm wrong or you disagree with me, tell me that," or don't tell me that or whatever, you could 'cause it's intelligent. It would understand technically what you want it to tell you, not to tell you, if you want it to be sympathetic, not be sympathetic. I mean, it could be anything you want it to be.
No, that's a good point. I mean, you could, because you can still, like, some people are completely consumed by social media, right?
Mhm.
But you can use it strategically, like that. For me with social media, I feel like it's like I'm always glad that I never tried to start smoking, because I would be hopelessly addicted, and I never really tried social media like that. And so now that I'm older, I can just use it strategically.
Yeah.
How and so, my the algorithm or whatever, what little bit I'm on there, I get what I want, which is more like related to the podcasts and stuff. And so I guess you're right. You could just choose to tell your robot, like, "Hey, slap me around a little bit.
Yeah.
I like it rough. Tell me the truth."
Yeah, it just depends on the personality type, right? If you want it to be if you want it to sugarcoat things or you want to just, you know, tell you the truth, I'm sure it'd be simple as having a conversation with it like that and telling it that.
Well, I mean, look, Elon has spoken a lot about that. He expects to sell, I think he said billions. Like, he fully believes that, maybe not just his company, but like in general, he expects there to be billions with a B of robots eventually on the earth.
Mhm.
And that's that and you're right. That means that, eventually you've got one in your house doing your laundry, I guess cooking, like,
Doing yeah, everything you don't wanna do, basically. Fucking
yeah.
mowing the lawn? Fuck yeah. That's the first thing I wanted to do.
But, like, I want, like, a really janky robot that I'm just gonna put bumper stickers all over it and, like, spray paint him.
Nothing wrong with that.
He'll
That'd be
he'll
s
look like shit, but it'll be real fun. It'll be like a really, really he'll be the fun robot.
If you're one of those ones that every morning you wake up and you see him, you start laughing.
Yes. I'll, like, glue some, like, funny hair to his head and, like
It all makes me think about that what the fuck was that show called? Westworld, I think it was called. Did you ever watch that?
I never saw that.
It's crazy 'cause it's an old I can't remember how old it is, but it's not old, but it's an old little bit older show. And at the time, I remember thinking, that's a cool, crazy concept," but now, man, like, that concept seems totally realistic.
Well, I know they referenced it on Rick and Morty before. Is it basically the joke on Rick and Morty was
Sorry, I got, like, a hair I can see on this thing. I'm trying to get it off the lens.
you're almost there.
Oh my
Really
god.
get in there.
Oh, I wonder if can you see it? Probably not.
I can see your hands.
It's, like, right there, and I can't get it. I need some tweezers. It's, like, stuck in the phone case. Fucking A.
You need that blower with a little filter on the back.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was a hair or maybe, like, a fiber of some kind. Um, I'm trying to remember because 'cause it's been a minute since I've seen it, but,
Isn't it just like people banging robots?
so, no, here's what it is, like, basically, it's kinda like it's one of those where I think it starts out in the beginning, and it's kinda deceiving, you don't really realize what's going on at first, but because it's set in, like, a Western, maybe, like, I don't know, sometime in the 1800s or something, and, so, yeah, it looks like a Western type show or movie, but basically what it is, it's way in or it's in the future, and there's this I don't know if you call it like a park or a theme park or kind of thing where basically people go in, they pay to go in and they get to, interact and be part of this West World or whatever it's called. They dress up and to play the part as well, and they can interact with these robots in any way they want, and the robots are all programmed where they can't do any harm, physical harm to anybody. And so yeah, so there's like robot hookers and gunslingers and that kind of shit. And so you can it's kind of like a real life like video game or something. Basically, I guess is how you could describe it. Um, and then like at the end of the day, all the robots go in and the ones that got shot or whatever, they go in and get serviced and repaired and all that kind of stuff. Um, and at some point, I guess one of the robots kind of becomes self-aware, of what's going on, and then obviously, kind of chaos starts to ensue, and it's a pretty wild show. But man, like now thinking about it, it totally seems like something that could be in the probably not too far future.
Ah, that's a cool. You know what? We tried watching that, and I can't. I have like every subscription you can think of, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And I would have to buy each episode or something. And I was like,
Remember,
I'm not doing that
I can't remember what we watched it on, to be honest.
because I think you and I talked about this, and I did. Now that you mention it, I totally looked at it and I was like, that looks awesome. I think that was the one, and I couldn't find it. I mean, not. I checked like Paramount. We've even got the HBO Max thing now.
Yeah.
Hulu, Netflix. I mean, like all the ones that I have, and nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look and see. I don't know what it's on. I can't remember. I think there was, maybe there was only 3 seasons or something like that, or maybe 4. But it was weird because the final season I never watched. I started watching it, but it took a very different turn, which I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Um, Basically, it was a at some point during one season there was like a uprising basically of all the robots. So they're having and this Westworld also area was like it was real land and all that kind of thing. You know what I mean? It wasn't like simulated. But it was actually like really big. It wasn't just like a theme park size. It was like, I don't know, hundreds of acres or maybe thousands of acres. Um, but I guess one of the main robots, I think, escaped the park or something, and it was basically taking place outside of Westworld. And I was like, and so I kind of lost interest in it and stopped watching it.
I thought you were gonna say they stormed the Capitol.
Maybe they did. I don't know. They might have.
I thought you were gonna say that it went like totally political, and you were like,
No, I
yeah.
don't know if it did or not. Like I said, I just kind of lost interest.
Isn't that weird how some shows fall off like that?
Yeah, it might have been a good season. I don't know. I didn't give it a chance. Maybe I should have.
So some shows like never fall off. I feel like South Park. Yeah, I don't. Are they still making it?
I think so. Yeah.
I feel like that never really falls off.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the shows like that, they're a little different. You don't really necessarily need a driving storyline.
yeah, that is true.
Each episode can kind of really just be its own thing, as long as there's stuff to still make fun of in the world, which there always will be.
Yeah, which there always will be.
They can
Dude,
just
it
keep.
would be so much fun to do a cartoon.
Yeah, it would really, really go hard, man, in the paint about making fun and like that would be my intent to really ruffle feathers, really ruffle feathers.
You know.
Yes, that's what I would want. I would want to really try and piss people off, because why not? That would be the fun of it.
No, no, I would love that. I think that's something we should really consider doing. But it's the animation. Like I've looked into it, and with AI, it's getting easier, but it would
Mhm.
still be a full time job just trying to get it to look anything like you want, and
Yeah.
I'm just like I can't.
Yeah,
I don't
we
have
just need to
that.
give AI a little bit more time.
Well, I mean, more time could mean 6 months.
That's what I'm saying. It may not be much.
Yeah, I don't think it will be much because I mean, literally, it, it's it's growing so damn fast,
Yeah, it is. It's scary.
dude. I'm so happy with these new microphones.
Are they nice?
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
figure out how to turn
They
the color off?
yes. I didn't think you could,
It's just a
and then
button on the thing, isn't it?
yeah. I think technically each color represents like a mode. Um, but then if you hit it enough times, the light just goes out.
Yeah,
And
mine's
so,
mine's got one like this. It's like a ring. It's like a ring that goes around it.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
on the
what mine's got.
bottom.
Yeah, I
I
don't even
mean,
know where mine's at, but it's got one somewhere.
yeah. Well, I mean, technically, if I have it positioned right, you really can't see the bottom of it, so I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, the light just does not work for me.
Trying to remember where the fuck mine's at. Fuck my mic up. Just feeling for a button. Want to find one to push it.
Dude, so how goes your photography? I haven't dude, I'm never on social media, but when I'm on there, I try and jump on your account.
Oh, see, there it is.
Hey,
Hey.
turn it off.
No, no, I gotta figure it out. I think it cycles through colors.
You got a lot more colors than I do.
See, do I gotta hold it to get
God,
it
it sounds
off?
like a heartbeat.
I know it does on mine too. Very slow heartbeat. Jeez, dude. Have I gone through all the colors?
There's only like 5 colors, right?
No, it's still doing different things.
Yeah, you ruined it.
May have to hold it, so I'm trying to decide, but it
You're
was
probably gonna
red.
if you hold the button, you'll probably just reboot it.
I don't think it's a power button. I think it's just a light button. Let me hold it.
Definitely keep clicking it.
There. Just gotta hold it. It's kind of cool.
Live action.
Fucking A.
No, but dude, a cartoon would be amazing. I always have all these ideas for it, and doing the voices would be fun too. I
Yeah, that
just
would
think
be really fun.
honestly, we would need to it would need to be like an anonymous account, not
No, for
tied
sure.
to
We'd
us.
start something else. We wouldn't show our faces and we wouldn't put our real names on it because that would be kind of the part of the fun is like, giving people the middle finger, but you don't have any idea who we are
Yeah, I mean,
unless
but huh?
so if it became big enough, then I wouldn't have a problem putting my face on there.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I just wonder how how does South Park get away with what they've always gotten away with? I mean, is it just because they? I mean, they started on. I mean, they're still on Comedy Central, right?
I think so, yeah.
And I guess they probably just started there. I don't know how that works, but I mean, the guys that started it must have pitched the idea and come up with maybe a few scripts or something, and then it started, and so they I guess they've always kind of had that protection because
Mhm.
I mean, some of the stuff they do, it's hilarious, and I feel like it's important. I feel like we have to have stuff like that, but
Yeah.
I'm just so surprised they never got canceled.
Yeah, I guess it's, well, I see, and I don't know, maybe they're not on the network anymore. I don't know if they are or not. They're probably it's probably one of those things where they're so big at this point that assuming it is Cartoon Network or whoever that has them, Comedy Central, whatever, that there would be no point because all they would be doing is losing a lot of revenue if they lost that because that it's not like they could they're too big to be canceled at this point. They could just branch out on their own. You know what I mean? Because of the power of the internet, there'd be no holding them back. So a company like that would just literally be losing business.
Oh, 100%. I mean, they're like in their 27th season or something crazy, but I think probably within their second or third season, it just was such a hit, like right
Yeah, but
off the bat.
and then back then cancel culture didn't exist, so it didn't matter. Nobody was trying to
That's
cancel
true.
them.
I mean, I guess technically, I mean, I wonder, like, is cancel culture still a thing?
Yeah, it's still a thing, but it's definitely running through some hurdles now. It's not just fucking running wild anymore. It's
That
it's
was
kind it's kind of been put on check a little bit, which is good. Hopefully it's kind of gone now,
yeah. I mean,
or will
like,
be.
who was the Oh, it was the dude that was running for vice president. What was his name again? Walls?
Oh yeah, Timmy Walls.
Yeah, he literally was saying shit like free speech was it was something crazy. It was like free speech was dangerous or it was a privilege, not a right or some shit. And I was
Yeah,
like,
I think that's exactly what he said. It was a privilege.
yeah, and I was like, whoa, hang on. What did Tim Walt say about free speech? I spelled speech wrong. Okay, hang on. Can you still hear me?
Mm-hmm. What did he say? My knees are getting tired. Stretch it out.
Okay, there is no hate speech exception to the First Amendment. There's no First Amendment right to misinformation. Oh God, that's what it was.
There's no what does that say again? There's no misinformation.
Hang on, no. I'm getting that wrong. It was him and Vance arguing back and forth. This was the debate in October, and so let's see. Hate speech has been the greatest marketing success of the anti-free speech movement. Yeah. So basically, but basically, he was just saying that he was on board with all the bullshit that was going on before, and it was basically just like you don't have the right to spread misinformation, and it was about all the COVID nonsense and like vaccine hesitancy and all that.
Mhm.
So like when I mean like when they start saying shit like that, I mean you gotta imagine even hardcore people on their side have to like
Well, dude,
uh,
that's what's crazy, man, is like literally the tide has finally turned, but man, the people that supported that shit are fucking doubling down, man. I mean, they really are.
really, like, because my it was sort of what I figured was that, like, they would just start to try and blend in. Like if you were on social media telling people that they were filthy animals for not getting vaccinated, I just sort of assume now you're trying to, like, delete all that and sort of blend back into society.
That's the thing is they're not, man. They're really not. Unfortunately, like, over the years, I've gotten a ton of, stuff that shows up on my feed that's political. And for example, man, TikTok, I don't scroll on anything, but on TikTok, when I go in to post a video, something when you open the app, automatically something pops up. Um, and it's always something political on my TikTok feed. And I usually do listen to the one video, whatever it is. But yeah, man, it doesn't appear to me, from at least what I hear, that like I said, people that have supported all that nonsense for all these years are, like you said, blending in. Like I would be embarrassed and just like you said, you just kind of want to fade into the crowd. But
Yeah,
man,
they
like
got it.
some people are really doubling down on that shit.
They got it so wrong. It's just amazing. It's just amazing how wrong they got it. I mean, and like I remember doing this research because when it was like once Biden was in office, because this was a few years ago, I forget what year, but like because Trump was president right when it hit, and
Mhm.
and then Biden was in office, and then they really started pushing the vaccine, and I was like a little bit freaked out, so I was doing all the research I could to like learn about it, and then and then they really started pushing it hard. And I was like, wait a minute. I fucking remember like specifically seeing Nancy Pelosi and I think Biden also and other like key leaders of the Democrat Party saying on TV, like, I do not trust this vaccine. I don't trust the Trump White House. It was obviously it
Mhm.
was political for them. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden they flipped once they were in power and they were like, oh my God, we can get so much more rich than we already are. Then they
Mhm.
were pushing the vaccine, and I remember I was at Chick-fil-A for something. I was like eating while I was waiting to pick up one of the kids, and I literally went through and did the research, and I found all the videos of the huge like Democrat politicians. It was like a compilation video, and they were just like basically railing on Trump and like I'm never taking that, and he gave them immunity from prosecution. That's a red flag to start with, and I was like, well, hell yeah. They had it right to begin with.
Mhm.
So something about, billions of dollars like will change your mind. I mean, they didn't make bill. I mean, the Pfizer and stuff made billions. The politicians, what do you think? I mean, like, how much did they make? It had to have been in the millions and millions, like tens of
I'm sure it
millions.
was, yeah, I'm sure it was a lot of money
I mean,
to push that. Think about it, man. The companies wanted them to push that narrative, and like you said, the billions of dollars they made. You know,
it might have been more than billions. I don't know.
if they're handing out millions of dollars to politicians to support it and to push it, it's nothing to them. And how much would it take for one of these politicians to flip? I mean, not much.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, I was gonna say life changing money, but most of those guys are already so rich. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're worth over $100 million, why would? I mean, I can't imagine wanting more. I would imagine getting bought off at that point would be really expensive.
Mhm. I don't know, man. I have no idea.
Hmm.
But it's
Once
in
I get to 100 mil, I'll tell you.
yeah, there you go. It's interesting though because, like I said, man, the left like, you listen to the left media talk about this whole Doge thing, and they try and make it out like it's this god awful thing, and it's eroding our democracy, and um, that just blows my mind how anybody could actually believe that or get on board with that. Like how is an audit of our government spending in any way, shape, or form a bad thing?
Oh yeah, no, dude, I'm actually like, I was gonna say I'm almost giddy, but that's not the right word for it. But it is very exciting
It is.
to think that our government might actually get trimmed back a little bit, like because people, it becomes like you say, it becomes a political issue, and people are gonna double down, like the right doubles down, the left doubles down, but like the interest on our debt as a country is like over $1 trillion at this point. The interest on our debt, not our, I don't even know what our debt is, but the
Mhm.
interest on our debt is like 1.3 or 1.4 trillion, I think, for last year or something. That's a crisis. Like we are
Mhm.
literally in a debt crisis, and
Yeah.
then people are mad because they're gonna cut funding for transgender animal studies. It's
Right. It doesn't make any sense,
it's
dude.
like what? It's like, how is this a political issue? I mean, I know it's a Republican administration doing this, but Jesus, we could fail as a country. We
It's
are so in debt to China, like it's dangerous.
yeah, it's literally all it is, man. It's about, how invested people feel on their side because if the I mean, there's no doubt if the script was flipped on that and it was the Democrats in office doing that, then the Democrats will be, and all the followers will be hooting and hollering about how great of a thing it is.
Oh, 100%. And the hardcore right would be bitching about it, and they would be probably saying similar things
Yeah,
to what the left is saying, like it's illegal and this is an invasion of privacy. Because
yeah.
Clinton, when he was in office, I don't know if it was his first or second term, but didn't he balance the budget? I mean, that had to, yeah, he did all
Mhm.
the cuts to the military, and he took a lot of flack for that.
Yeah. He did a
Uh,
lot of stuff. He was the only one of the only presidents who actually didn't, uh, spend more money than he saved. He actually, you know, reduced the deficit.
yeah, and honestly, it probably hasn't happened since.
No,
I
it
don't
has
I don't
not
think
happened. It
anybody.
hasn't. It hasn't happened at all since. It's just keeps getting exponentially worse.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't like. I was on X, I think last night at work because I was looking up David
Mhm,
Politis, the missing 411 guy,
mhm,
dude. He's like a bucket list guest. I would love to have on. It's gonna take a while, but I was sort of stalking him. Um, but there was some guy, some political. He's on the right, and he- he's funny. He's really fucking funny. But one of his tweets was like a video of a bunch of USAID workers leaving their building like for the last time, and they all had their boxes in their hands from
mhm.
cleaning out their desks. And the people outside were holding a vigil. I'm guessing it was DC, and they all had signs like "Thank you, we love you," and it was like this, moment. And then he was just like ripping on them, like, "Hey, thanks for your service. I'm sure you can find gainful employment at some liberal, left wing lunatic, um, fucking what do they call those? Oh damn it, what are they think tanks?" And he was like,
Mhm.
"Oh wait, we're defunding those too." And I was like, I mean, that's funny, but that's also such a dick move. I mean, these guys are losing their jobs. I
Yeah.
mean, it needs to happen, but man, do you have to be a dick about it?
Yeah, that I mean, it does suck, man. I feel for those people that literally, went to work one day and the next day don't have a job because that fucking sucks, no doubt, but, I mean, it needs to be done.
Yeah.
Those jobs
No,
should have never been there in the first place.
yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. I mean, it's yeah. I don't like how I don't like the hate thing or the bagging on people because it would be devastating to lose your job. I mean, that would because you got to figure like it's like, hey kids, daddy got a job with the federal government. That's the most secure, thing ever. It's not going anywhere. Timmy can get his surgery. And then
Mhm.
like 2 weeks later, he's walking out with his little box of stuff. That's sad. But I mean, like you say, that the government just swells and it just grows. Like in
Yeah.
the military, I I, I think their fiscal year was weird. I think it was October 1 to the end of September is how it worked. And so, August, July, August ish, they start looking at the numbers and they're like, holy shit, we got to spend all this money. Who wants to go to training? What can we buy? Do we need more bullets? Do we need body armor? Like it was like what can we buy? Because if we
Mhm.
don't spend every dime that was allotted, that becomes our new budget for next year.
Mm.
And so, but if you spend every dime every year, then you can say, hey, we actually need more. This is just not cutting it. And then every year it gets bigger. And that's the military. And I guess you could say, well, you can make a pretty good case that they need a good
Right.
budget.
Yeah.
But I don't know, some of those,
Some of those nonsensical agencies.
well, I had a funny thought about that. The because the transgender monkey studies, I think that was a real thing. And it was like, I think it was like 200 and something $1 million. And I was like, okay, that can't be real. And so I was hoping that it was like basically some secret badass special ops unit that all their funding comes from quote unquote transgender monkey studies, right? And
Right.
it's paying all their trips and paying their salaries. And like I had this funny thought that what if they embraced that and they had like patches with like monkeys with boy and girl parts and like they just like because it would be like black budget, and so
Yeah.
but you just can't say this is the budget for these guys that no one knows exist. So we
Yeah.
call it transgender monkey studies.
Right. It does make you wonder about a few of those agencies.
But I mean, some of that stuff has to be like that. I mean, that's the other side to it. The USA thing, some of those things are ridiculous, but then it's like okay for you and me, with cop stuff and the whole defund the police thing that was big a few years ago and stuff. It's like from the things on the inside look very different from the outside, and there's so much more nuanced on the inside. It's easy to say certain things from the outside and be totally wrong about it, and you don't even realize it. And I
Mhm.
just wonder, like yes, there's lots of bloated spending, but what else are they doing that really benefits the
Right. Something.
country?
Right.
Eh, So hopefully they're taking that into account. I
I'm
mean
sure
they
they are.
would,
I'm sure
right? I
they are.
mean,
I think they're just looking really genuinely looking at cutting wasteful spending.
yeah. Well, and it's so confusing because like you say, the left is doubling down, and it's like, well, now we can't feed poor people, and we can't do all these great things. It's like, and then it makes you feel like an asshole for supporting it, but then I'm like, wait a minute, no one's saying that we shouldn't do that.
Right, and
We're
no
just
one's
saying
saying that
we
they're
shouldn't
not.
be, doing all this stupid shit, like all this money for putting on transgender plays, and why is it always
Exactly.
the sexual, like, transgender stuff? Like, who started that? Is that a
Yeah.
joke?
Yeah, it's like, seriously, who signed off on that? Like, "Yes, let's spend that money." What?
I mean, I guess that's probably what gets the most play because it's so ridiculous, but it's like, why is it all about that?
Right.
That really creeps me out, and that we're paying for it.
That's crazy, man, and, like Trump said he wants to do, a $5,000 refund check, tax refund check to everybody. That'd be amazing. Can you imagine how amazing that would be?
Hang on, that's the first time hearing of that.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he would like to do with all the money they're saving by cutting all this shit. He'd like to give every American a $5,000 refund check.
We got $5,000. We got
And the thing is the
$5,000.
thing is, people can sit back, on the left, I'm sure, and say, "Oh yeah, I'm so sure." But but look, we got lots of refund checks when he was in office the first time. That did happen, and we paid less taxes than we've paid in our adult lifetime. So yeah, 100%, I do believe he'll give us some sort of a refund. Maybe it won't be $5,000. It'll be $4,800, and the left will be like, "See, I told you, he lied. He said he was going to give you $5,000." That's exactly what they'll do. He gave you $5,000. He gave you 48 $192. He's a fucking liar. He's a Nazi because he fucking lied to you.
Well, I mean, look, I could use 5 grand like you wouldn't believe, but I mean, if we're saving all that money, shouldn't we just like pay off some fucking debt? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, isn't that the
Well,
point?
maybe, but he's not saying he's going to take all that money and divide. You know what I'm saying? It may be enough to give everybody $5,000 and have trillions of dollars left over. Who knows?
Oh, okay. I see what
He's
you
not saying he's
mean.
going to take all that money. You know, and I don't remember. I feel like it was $5,000 a person. I don't think it was per like household.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So can you imagine how much money that must be? That's being wasted if there's that much to give back.
Yeah.
And even if it is only
Man.
5,000 a household, that's a lot of money. For
Yeah.
most Americans, $5,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a gonna have to agree with you there, Brian.
I mean,
Man.
if you're super rich, yeah, I get it. $5,000 is no big deal, but
Yeah, and
most
then five
people,
grand per household. Man.
or per person, that's a tax
Or
filing
yeah.
citizen.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, I meant five
I mean,
thousand a
imagine if it was
person.
10 grand coming back in your pocket. How that would really be amazing.
Yeah. Mm.
Not to mention that could really help fuel the economy too.
Yeah, it'll fuel Amazon.
Yeah, for real. I
Well,
mean,
hang on. During COVID, what was they didn't they do studies? What did everybody blow their money on? It was TVs, right?
I don't even know. Was it?
I feel like I heard something like the sales of like flat screens and like it was just dumb stuff. It was
Stupid shit.
skyrocketed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, TVs do make sense because if people were confined to their home, things that you would need in your home to entertain yourself, TVs make a lot of sense. That kind of makes
No, that
sense why that would
yeah.
be the number one thing, you know?
No, that is a good point. God,
So,
remember lockdowns?
yeah.
Gee, that it was insane.
It was beyond insane, dude. It almost seems unreal now, thinking back about it.
I mean, we got lucky. In Georgia, we were lucky because
Yeah.
we didn't really lock down that long. What was
No.
it like? Maybe 6 weeks?
Yeah, and even then it was limited. It was certain. I mean, because remember, you could always still go to the grocery stores and things like that. It wasn't really like you were. There just was a lot of businesses that weren't allowed to be open, like the gyms, for
Yeah.
example. I remember weren't open for. No, it was actually more than 6 weeks. Um, I want to say it was closer. Fuck, I can't. I'm trying to remember the actual gym. Um, it was at least a few months,
Was it
maybe more.
really?
Yeah, maybe a bit more than that. I can't remember.
I just know that like I mean this sounds awful, but like just for me personally, because obviously I had to go to work. Like it was so nice. The interstates were clear. Didn't matter what time I was driving to and from work. My commute was like so easy. We
Yeah.
got hazard pay, and
Mhm.
but I mean, I don't mean to be a dick about that. That was just my personal experience, and I don't know. I just wasn't really worried about it. I remember Rogan had when COVID first started, he had a guest on, and he was very credentialed. He had, he was like a micro something ologist, and he'd worked for the CDC for his whole life. And I forget what his name was, but he was basically like, "Hey, look, it's going to spread like wildfire because it's not going to be very deadly. It's going to be like the flu or a cold." He's like, if it
Mhm.
were super deadly, it wouldn't spread very fast because everyone dies off before they can spread it. He's
Mhm.
like, but it's not going to, so it's going to have a low mortality rate, but it's going to have a high infection rate. And he's like, we're never getting rid of it. He's like, I'm telling you, mark my words. We'll be hearing about this 20 years from now. It's going to be like the common cold.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes sense. And I did some more research, and I was like, okay, I'm not really that worried about it.
Yeah.
That's why I never did the vaccine. I was like, no,
Yeah,
I'll,
fuck that.
you know, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'll take my chances.
Hold up.
Um, oh,
It's the problem about having this on my phone.
hello.
I wonder, can I put that on silent? Let's see what happens.
Geez, Brian, what are we looking at?
I don't even know it's on the bottom. Where am I at? I'm on the wrong thing.
We're getting a full tour of your studio.
That's right. I think it's on silent. We'll see.
It's okay. It's okay. No, but
What
but
were we saying?
no, the lockdowns, and so
No, yeah.
because I remember my mom calling me, and she's like, Russ, I've really got to go to the store. Am I going to get arrested? Are they going to arrest me for going to Kroger?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think so. I was like,
I
I
think you're
think you can
good,
still
man.
go to the store. I was like, I'll bring you some groceries, but
I
yeah,
kinda
I
remember
remember
you I
her
remember
being
you
freaked
saying
out.
that, actually. I remember you talking about that when like,
Yeah,
during the fact.
I was like, well, call me if they do.
What the fuck was I gonna say about that? Oh, yeah, but what's crazy is, like, even that when was the last time you heard somebody say, "Yeah, I just had COVID?" Like, even if you have COVID, you don't even suspect it's COVID. People get sick now, you know what I mean? Like, nobody says, "Oh, man, I was out with COVID," or "I got a fucking, quarantine." You don't hear anything about quarantining yourself
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly. Nobody. Yeah, they don't want to hear it. If you call and say I'm sick, they're like, okay, can you come
Exactly.
in?
Exactly.
Yeah, but okay. I have two thoughts about that. The first thought is I really I've been looking for a good documentary that sort of like encapsulates all that madness because we forget. I mean, it's only been a few years, but we forget how ridiculous it was. And I really want to find a good documentary to watch that sort of shows all the madness, and really paints that picture for how, just sort of to remind me. And then my other thought is, I wonder what the current thing is now
Mhm.
that we're going to look back on in a few years and be like, wow, they got that totally wrong.
Yeah. Dude, it's actually been over 5 years since patient 0.
Man, has it really?
Mhm. 'Cause I remember, 'cause think about it, remember it happened before Trump was out of office. Biden's been in office for 4 years, and it really blew up, like, spring, summer of his last term. But they were saying, like, it actually probably started back in, like, the fall of the previous year, so that would've been over 5 years ago. So
No,
it's been that
it came
it's
from a wet market, Brian.
yeah, somebody ate a
Brian.
bat, I know.
It
Somebody ate a
was it
bat.
was a it was a fucking raccoon and a bat had a baby,
That's
a
right.
COVID baby.
That's right, and it was taken care of by a monkey, and
Remember how, I mean, like, I can remember, like, we talked about it, obviously, and we were like, the fuck is wrong with these people? What? How you've got the Wuhan lab for coronavirus research or some shit down the street,
yeah,
and everyone swears it came from the wet market.
it was the wet market down the street,
It's
guys.
like,
Don't be conspiracy theorists.
exactly, and you were a nut, and you were going to get canceled. That's something I've been wanting to look into. I did start looking into it because I thought about doing an episode about this. Is the Twitter files, and all the pressure that the Biden White House was putting on Facebook and Twitter and all the rest of them. It's insane. I mean, like that's like the word Nazi is thrown around a lot these
Oh
days,
my god,
especially by
dude.
the left. But when the fucking White House is calling and saying, "Hey, this guy better get banned," or "This guy better get down regulated," or whatever they call it, where your posts go nowhere. I mean that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say the Nazi word. Like I don't want to throw it around like the left does. But come on, who
Mhm.
who says shit like that? The White House calling Twitter? Come on.
Yeah. It's crazy too, man, to hear people throwing around that word towards Elon. It's comical, man, because, like, people are gonna look back 100 years from now, and he's gonna be looked at like a like a Benjamin Franklin or something of his era, you know what I mean? He's not gonna be looked at like because basically when all the hoopla is over with in the future, um, and I think people will only actually look at the truth, because nobody's looking back in time and saying like, "Oh, Hitler wasn't wrong. He wasn't bad. He was," you know what I mean? Like, the truth is the truth, and at some point, people stop arguing the stupid shit, just to argue it, like they're doing now. And I think he'll be looked at, well, hell, not only like that, like he had a huge proponent of helping to keep our freedom, but hell, just the technology side of everything he's done too for the world, man, is going to be, he's going to be looked at, I think, as the equivalent of multiple historical people, whether that's like an Einstein or something like that too, because I mean, who knows what else he's going to do? He may be the one that puts us on Mars or actually puts us on the moon or something like that.
No, yeah, actually, no, 100%. Dude, I just realized that my camera was focused on my fucking microphone this whole time.
It's
I
okay.
thought my face was blurry because of the internet connection.
Yeah, it's just focused on the microphone. That's all.
No, I mean, no, 100% because if you think about it, back in the day, there was a lot of prominent people that were very much pro Hitler, pro Nazi party until it fell out of favor. Like people forget about that.
Mhm.
Um, there was a lot of people in our government that were pretty much on board. I don't know how much they knew about what was actually going on, but there was a lot of people that were pretty down with it. Um, but you're right. I mean, enough time goes by, and you can really only see the truth. You're not feeling the rhetoric and feeling the bullshit.
Yeah.
And yeah, you do have a guy that has made some crazy accomplishments. And now he's stepping into government. And isn't that how? I mean, a lot of the founding fathers, government was not their first thing. That's not the
No.
first thing they did. They, government. They were successful in other things, and then eventually got involved in government. And so, yeah, it would be interesting to see what our like what our great grandkids how they would view
Well,
the time
just
we're living
just how
in.
how the history books portray them is what'll be interesting.
That is kind of cool.
I can't. I need to get. Oh, let me see if I got a plug that'll reach for here. Got lots of plugs below me. Got a pile of fucking cords.
Dude, why do I suck so bad at this? I just realized an hour into this conversation that my face was out of focus because my stupid microphone was in focus. And then and then last week on April's episode, I don't know, I updated the Ninja to like the new 11.0 or whatever 11.4 operating system.
Uh-huh.
And I don't even know if you could do this on the last one. I never did it by mistake, but I recorded all the overlays. And so, like if you look at the back of your camera, you see the audio signals, you see the little boxes for the focus around your face. I think I had the waveform on there, or no,
Yeah.
the histogram. All that shit recorded onto the video.
Oh no. Did it
I
really?
was like, "Are you? I mean, come on! Like, how is that even possible?"
Yeah, that's crazy. Hang on, give me 1 sec. I'm gonna grab a long cord. I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll just I'll stall.
Mark that time.
No, 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 I'll fill in. I got this.
Oh, Jesus, dude, put that thing away.
That was fast.
Yeah.
I told some jokes.
Did you? Were they
God,
good at least?
I'm really mad about the focus thing, and of course my aperture's wide open, and so like that, I really my face really will be blurry for the first 50 fucking minutes,
So, like, bad blurry?
probably.
This
But I just
microphone
thought it
stand
was my
sucks.
internet. This is why we do this. This is
I
why we
load
train
on your
people.
device. Try closing all other apps and tabs.
Your PD 200X podcast microphone.
There you go.
Wow, what'd that set you back?
It was, I don't know, $50 maybe? 50 or
Damn,
$60? I
girl,
I can't
you
remember what.
got that big money.
It wasn't expensive. Had it for a while. Got that bitch a while ago.
Yeah, I was doing this janky setup, uh, like whenever I had April on, because obviously I didn't do the remote like we're doing it now. I had to be in person, and I had it's so much more complicated than just like a regular YouTube video. Like for her business, that setup didn't really work the same way,
Mhm.
and so I was like using the shotgun microphone for her, and then I was trying to use the Zoom because it has the built-in mics, and then it was a fucking nightmare. But I finally just bought these two. They were like $40 each or something, but they had really good reviews.
Mhm.
Um, and they actually were great. And the trick is you cannot use a condenser mic. I didn't know enough about microphones, but this is a dynamic mic, and as far as a noise reduction and stuff,
Mhm. Were your old
it's in
ones condenser mics?
yes. Well, I mean the shot what I was using with April, no, the shot I had a really nice Sennheiser shotgun mic, and then the Zoom is a good one too, but it's
Mhm.
just not ideal. It's sort of a janky setup. But the other ones that I got for Christmas a couple of years ago, they were just like cheap condenser mics, and you hear I mean, you can probably hear my fucking heartbeat through them. Like it
Yeah, it's
picks
like, I wonder if
everything
that's
up.
why we were having issues when had the 2 going, remember?
Oh, yeah, maybe. I yeah, possibly. And then I think also it was my janky old laptop.
I forgot about that. Yeah, how was the new laptop?
Amazing. Oh, and actually, okay, here's something funny because what I'm realizing is that I need to really double down and do a better job like tracking down guests for the show. And
Mhm.
and so that made me realize that I'm going to have to get a mobile setup where I mean like yes, remote is fine, but I'm also going to need to be able to like go visit people,
Yeah.
where they are and set up. And so I was on, and I'm like, okay, well, how would I accomplish that? And then I was driving to work last night, and I jump on good old Chat GPT, and
Mhm.
he's like, oh, well, you know what? Just use OBS Studio, which is what we were using, but it wasn't working right with my old laptop. But I
Mm.
think with the new one, it'll work fine. And he's
Mhm.
like, you can use two cell phones like because I have old cell phone. I never get rid of my cell phones when we upgrade, and so I can literally use two old iPhones, plug them into my camera to my laptop, use them at the same time, and then just run the two microphones I've got through my Zoom. Bob's your uncle.
How do you Can you hook 2 microphones up to your laptop or not?
Eh, pro- Probably I could probably run it all through my laptop because the microphones that I have they can do XLR or USB, and I mean, I have enough ports. I just don't know if all the drivers and stuff like would support that. And so my
Yeah.
my thought is if I have two cell phones running video to my computer, I'll just record scratch audio on that one, and then I'll just run my microphones through the Zoom and just sync them and resolve.
Yeah, that makes
Is sort of
sense.
my thought.
Yeah, just take that process out of the computer's hands altogether.
Yeah. Now, if I had had the money, because the laptop I got was like the lower end of the MSI, um, whatever it's called, like totem pole, and and so it has like this has like an i5 processor, and I think the video card is um like a 3060 or something. If I'd had about a grand to spend, I could have gotten a much faster one that probably would do all that with ease.
Mhm.
But I'll get there. I'll get there when Trump sends me that $5,000.
Yeah, buddy. We get me a new Sony camera.
Are you going to get the R? What are they at now? R like 19?
I think the 5 is it the 5? I think the 5 is the most recent ours, or is it a 6? I can't remember.
Dude, I have not even kept up with that anymore.
I I would I mean, I would love to have one of the Rs, man, but honestly, it just does I really don't need it, you know?
Yeah.
It just it's really not an upgrade worth spending that kind of money on.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my rig, because I only shoot April stuff anymore. The one thing I've thought about is trading in a couple of my lenses and getting, because I have that one 15 millimeter prime, and
Mhm.
I've thought about getting um like Sony, and not even their G Master, but Sony has like a 16 to 35, like a zoom lens, but
Yeah,
the zoom is all internal, and so it doesn't like telescope out when you zoom back and forth.
that's nice.
And so literally I could have one lens, and I could, because I always run through and shoot my photos first, and so I could use that for photos. It would have some barrel distortion, but it doesn't really matter because that's easy to fix and post.
Mhm,
And then just leave that same lens on there, throw my camera on the gimbal, open it wide to 16, do my real estate, do the video, and then just zoom into 35 and do the interviews,
mhm.
never having to change lenses. And
Y
it just stays on the gimbal the whole
and yeah,
time.
you wouldn't have to readjust the gimbal either.
Exactly. And so that's
Yeah, I mean, like, that's to me, that kind of investment is worth it if it's a major convenience factor like that,
yeah. Oh yeah.
for sure.
So and that lens is not that expensive. You can get a really good used one for I think 600 or 700 bucks. It might be cheaper than that.
It's not bad.
So, and it's a good. I mean, like I say, the G Master is way better, but it's also 3 times as much, and it's huge, and it doesn't have the internal zoom. It like telescopes back and forth, and so you can forget keeping your gimbal, balanced
Yeah, it
doing
kinda
that.
defeats the purpose, yeah.
Yeah. And are you really getting like that much difference in your image quality?
Yeah, I don't
Ah,
know. I question
I don't
that too.
know.
I mean, I've kinda wondered that myself because, like, I still honestly, I use that little, the fucking Sony kit lens that we have. I don't know if you still have yours, the,
Yes, that's a
28
great
to
lens.
70 or whatever.
Yes.
I fucking use that lens for all my video pretty much.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
great lens.
and I'm like I said, I don't have a G Master to compare it to. Maybe it is a big difference, but I can't imagine it's that much of a difference.
No, I don't think it is. I mean, the only issue with that lens is that it has a variable aperture,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
whatever it's called, and so so if lighting is an issue or something, but besides that, and the stabilization in that lens is amazing. Like you can throw that lens on your camera because
Mhm.
you have IBIS inside the body of the camera, and that has the stabilization within the lens, and you can basically run down the street with it, and it looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, and for me, apertures become completely irrelevant because I shoot most of my stuff with a really high aperture. I usually shoot at like I think the lowest I ever shoot is like a 9, and I usually shoot anywhere somewhere between a 9 and a 13 usually.
Oh
So, I
yeah,
mean,
for what? Yeah, exactly.
I don't even need that shit. It's completely
Yeah.
pointless for me. And video
Well, and
for me, for video, it doesn't matter. The only reason I would the only reason I do lower a video is just for the extra light, and that's it.
yeah. Well, and now with like post production, it's so easy to blur. I mean, even in video, like you could shoot something, you know, uh, you know, f5.6 or higher, like an interview, and then just go through and blur it out later, blur the background later in
Mhm.
Resolve if you wanted to, and that way the person's face is going to be really clear in focus,
Yeah,
and
it's
then you
true.
just and obviously for photos it's even easier.
Yeah. I am curious though on the new Sonys because now they incorporate some sort of AI technology for face detection and stuff. I imagine it probably works really good. So I'd be curious to see. I figure
That's only
eventually.
that's in the new ones, or are they going to upgrade the
No, it's
firmware for
no,
ours?
it's the new ones. It's only the new ones. Like they don't
Go
upgrade, they don't
figure.
update the firmware in ours even at all anymore. Like
Are
it's
you
pretty much.
serious?
Oh yeah, dude, look at our cameras. The last time they had update has been, I want to say 3 years ago.
Uh,
Yeah, we're not getting any more
wow.
updates.
Well,
I mean, I get it. It's fine. It's not a big deal. And like I said, I'll eventually upgrade, when I need to. I don't know, man. I'm not big on upgrades just because I want something. I like to wait till I need it.
yeah.
Because you got to figure these cameras are going to eventually die. They're not going to last forever. Well, I say that. Fuck, who knows? They might fucking 50 years from now, it might still be fucking working. I don't really know, but I guess eventually, if technology gets, because I don't know what's the megapixels on these things. 20, was it 4? 20? I can't remember. 20.
Yeah, it's kind of low because honestly, it's a hybrid camera, but honestly, they kept the megapixels lower because it gives you better low light video performance
Yeah,
for some reason.
yeah. But here's the
Um,
thing. So like the new R is I think 61 megapixel or something like that. And yeah, that's a lot. That's great and all, but the funny thing is, like, 'cause I was thinking about this the other day, um, it's really irrelevant, I think. I mean, for some people, it's not. If you're doing photos professionally, delivering to clients and stuff, yeah, that makes sense. If you're a wedding photographer or landscape or product or whatever. But whenever you're putting this shit on social media, which is everything I do, which is probably a lot of what other people do too, um, if I took a picture at 61 megapixels, I can't put that file on, say, Instagram anyways. You have to reduce down the resolution on that file anyways before you do it. Because if you don't, then their system will do it and it's not going to do as good of a job anyways. So what's the point? Like I can look at this
yeah,
photo and it'll be like, wow. Because I'll tell you what the difference will be. Now I can do it and look at the difference between that and the raw photo, and the resolution looks pretty much the same to me. But I guarantee if I've got a 61 megapixel camera and I'm doing that, and then I'm changing the format on it to export it for like Instagram, I look at those two photos, I'll be able to tell difference, and I'll be like, ugh, and then it'll just hurt because I'm not like, man, like I get this picture looks so good, and now I can't upload it like that. So there's
yeah.
really no,
That
there's
is
just no point.
yeah. Well, you're right. I mean, because like the social media, the platforms they don't want they I'm sure their file storage like systems are a nightmare, and so they're going to do whatever they
Mhm.
can to compress and to limit the quality you can upload.
Exactly, that's what it is. And like I was saying before, these cameras may last for fucking 30, 40, 50 years. But then also, as technology does change, that will change. Right now you got to export a picture at 1080 by 1350 for Instagram, for example, resolution. But eventually, over time, that will change, obviously, and you'll be able to upload higher resolutions. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah,
maybe then, at some point, when I guess when maybe their resolution that you can upload a photo at supersedes the resolution that I can even shoot raw out of my camera, then maybe it might be time to consider upgrading.
yeah. I don't like I'm very hesitant to think about buying a camera. Well, I don't have the money right now, but like even if I did, I I just kind of wonder at what point my cell phone will be able to do everything that my Sony does.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, because the video and I have an older iPhone now. I think mine's a 12, and they're on like 16 now. I think. And like my Sony, it handles low light better, and it probably. I mean, I know it has a bigger sensor, and so it's probably higher quality. in general, and especially low light. And of course, you can change lenses, but even my iPhone has 3 different lenses built into it now, and like I say, it's an
Mhm.
older one, um, but it can't trigger flashes. Like at the point at which my Sony could talk to my flashes for real estate photography, I could probably just roll roll through with my cell phone, um, put it on a little. It would need to be on a tripod, obviously, but then just freaking let it fire my flashes, take all my pictures with my cell phone, and be done.
Yeah, that's a good question, man. Like, will that ever actually happen? I mean, I don't know, because you gotta figure as the technology increases for the phones, it's also gonna increase for the cameras, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or maybe, I mean, shit, what I really can't wait for, 'cause editing, ugh, editing in general, I don't enjoy, but editing, like, real estate photos is just mind numbing,
Yeah,
and I cannot
well
wait.
well, hold on because I haven't fucked with it, but somebody at work was just telling me about it. Um, he said he's found a video on it. He didn't say specifically what it was, but he said it was a super, super simple procedure, and now there's something in Photoshop that will completely, um, edit your photos for you, and he said it came out amazing. He said it did a better job than he could have done with it. I mean, that's not to say
Really?
it's not to say that somebody else could have done a better job, but, if it's good enough for you, then why not use something like that? I don't know
Yeah.
what it is or even what it was called. He said it's a new feature, and he said it was in Photoshop.
Really?
Yeah, you might wanna look into that. But I enjoy the editing process, man. I don't want a system to do it for me. And that's the sad thing is, like, AI will definitely be able to get to the point where it might even be able to do it now where it could analyze, like, all of my stuff and be able to pretty much edit my stuff going forward in my style and still make it look identical, but it's like, even if it could do that, I still don't want it to, man. Because like I said, for me, I guess if it'd be different if, like, for you, you don't wanna do the editing process, but if for me, I wanna do the editing process, I don't want the system doing it for me. I don't know, man. It just feels like cheating in a way.
Yeah. Okay, so that's an interesting point, and dude, I've thought a lot about this because that's how I feel about writing, because I love to write,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and the idea that AI probably, I don't think AI can write better than us now because it's pretty obvious that it's AI that's writing it,
Yeah.
but obviously it's smart as hell. Um, but eventually it'll, like will there be any writers? I don't know. But then I think the mindset shift comes when you like because I've been, that's mainly what I use chat for, is brainstorming either book ideas or screenplay ideas. I've got a funny one that you and I need to do. I think I've told you a little bit about it, but like basically I brainstorm ideas, and all the fucked up ideas that I come up with, and I'll brainstorm with Chad about it, and then we literally go back and forth. And he's like, "Oh, what about this?" And I'm like, "Yes, what about this?" And he's like, "Yeah, that'd be killer." And it's crazy. It's like having a best friend that's a screenwriter or something, because then he'll shoot back like a summary and like, hey, like a structure, and here's some key points, and your tension could be this, and your possible climax could be this. Um, but the mindset shift comes when you consider, like, well, okay, fine, maybe I'm not going to be an author, or maybe I'm not going to be a screenwriter, but I'm going to be a production company.
Mhm.
I mean, essentially, or whatever the hell you call it for like people that write novels, a publishing company. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's where the shift comes there. It's like, well, okay, if I'm able to collaborate, and brainstorm with an AI and have them do a lot of the work, then a book or a script that would have taken me a year or two might take me a week or two or a month. And
Yeah.
then it's just then from there, and for you, same thing. It's like, well, hey, if it can go back through and study all your editing for the past 6 months and then do it for you, well, then now you're just becoming more like a studio. And so it's going to be even easier. You go through and you take all your time setting it up and enjoying that process, knowing that your editing is going to be done for you.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's sort of my thought on it.